Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you. Welcome back, as always, to the Our Team Podcast. We're happy to be here, and with Blake, as always, who is a wealth of knowledge and a great mentor and teacher. And with that being said, we're working on the New Agent series, talking about how to become an agent of value.
That's a great question. I believe, my truest beliefs, and what I went to school for college is teaching is huge. And I think as you're learning the process of real estate as a newer agent, as you're teaching it to your clients, not only is it going to make you sharper in your own skills and your learning and speed up your learning, but being teachable or taking the mindset as a realtor, I am a teacher, it's going to save you so many headaches. Every agent has those crazy transactions. I know I've done enough transactions that are smooth or a disaster. And every time I close a transaction, I do a self-reflection and reflect on the transaction. What could have gone better? How could we have improved? Even if it was the smooth transaction, there's always room for growth. But with that being said, becoming an agent of value, I think the first thing it is when you're talking with your clients, you need to sit down and have a thorough buyer's consultation. And because on the listing side, you have a listing presentation. And at that listing presentation, I don't go and sit on other agents, but I've heard through the grapevine, a lot of listing agents just go and put up a PowerPoint and say, okay, do you want to sell my house? Or can I sell your house? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sitting down with your clients, whether buy side or list side, and walking them through the entire process. From the time that you're starting to look at a house, from the time your house hits the market, to the time you're handing over keys and going on to the next way. And the reason I like to do this up front, and I have people say, well, it takes too long. It's like an hour and a half. I've sat with you at a listing presentation. It's 3 hours. That hour and a half, that 3 hours is going to give you so much more leverage. And it just creates a foundation for how the whole relationship, if the transaction is going to go. Because as you call your buyer and say, hey, just want to remind you, on Friday, we got to remove contingencies for the inspections. They're not going to say, what the hell are you talking about? Because you already went over it. If you sit there and you go over the whole process with your clients, it makes your life a lot easier. I've done it before. I had a client. We went over a buyer's consultation and talked about closing costs and all that. We get down to the wire. They forgot they had closing costs. It almost cost us the deal. Then the lender's wondering what's going on. It was repeated multiple times. But overall, that was a reflection point that, hey, I need to make sure that we cover this multiple times. And by really teaching your clients and educating your clients, not only are you showing them value of, hey, you know what you're doing and talking about because you're doing it, but more importantly, it's building trust. It's building that relationship forever because you want to have a client for life.
Foundational is always the key, and it's creating a strong foundation that gives you the longevity.
100%. And, the other piece to that of how do you become a agent of value, which may seem kind of elementary or basic, but you have to understand the market. You have to know what's going on. You got to become an area expert. And a lot of people say, what does that even look like? Well, when you choose your farm, we're not going to go through farming. We have those on other podcasts. But when you choose your farm, you should know everything that's going in and out of that farm. What's for sale, what's pending, what's closed, the different models. Just you need to become the expert in that area. And then that's a micro level, very, very small, right? We're talking farm. But then you need to kind of figure out a city and say, hey, I want to learn everything about this city. I want to know the different area of taxes. What do the different HOAs look like? Because all those random things that people will ask me, like, how do you know this area? The tax are 1.3. Because I've done the work to learn it and remember it. Yes, I always pull the tax bill and double check. But when you're out on the fly and your buyer says, hey, Blake, what are the taxes on this? Hey, they're 1.58. And then you have the tax bill to show it. Now you just became not only Johnny on the spot, but you became the agent of value that is going to provide so much more to your client. You're not going there as agents. An agent of value is not a door opener. An agent of value is walking the property with their client and pointing out, saying, you see that? That's called wood rot. That's something we need to make sure that we include in our offer, that they're going to take care of a termite report. Those are things that you point out. Now, most agents are never going to say anything or say, hey, make sure we look at the disclosures because, there's a stain on the ceiling. Most agents are just going to pretend they didn't see it, brush it under the rug. Those are not the agents that people want.
Knowing you for as long as I've known you, how do you look at improving? Where do you see the additional step? Where do they go next?
Well, one of the things that I've always taken kind of pride in is something that I do, and it's a marketing tool, but it also adds value. So at the first day of every month, I go in the MLS and look at everything I've ever closed. And I go through, so we're in February right now, so I'd go through and write down every property that was sold in February. I send each client a thank you card. They could have bought the house last February, or it could have been 5 Februarys ago. They all get a thank you card. And then I give them a follow-up. And a lot of times, something that I started last year is I will record a video on their home. So their house is the thumbnail, so on and so forth, but I will send them a CMA on their own property. I send it to them, leave it as a unlisted video through YouTube, send it to them so that I can see if they watched it. But in addition to that, then I follow up with a phone call. Because as a homeowner, whether you're looking to sell or not, you want to know what the market's doing. This morning, leaving the house, saw my neighbor, we were talking, he goes, hey man, I just got a thing in the mail on how much equity we have in our house, and I have, $165,000. He's like, that's pretty good. We've done okay. They have no intention of selling, but having that knowledge is good. So as a newer agent, as you're starting to develop past clients, randomly sending out a market update is going to prove to your clients that you didn't just close them a house, you never want to talk to them again. That you're still invested and worried about the investment they made. People care about things like that. 6 months down the line, you call them, hey, want to touch base? I have a part of my campaign. And then I call them, hey, is there any upgrades that you want to do? I know you mentioned painting your house. Did you ever get around to painting it? I gave you my referral. Do you need his number again? Those types of items are huge. One of the other things, come the end of the first year, about month 10, try and call the clients. I have it set up. A lot of it's automated, but hey, you're at the 10-month mark. Are you planning on extending your home warranty? If so, go ahead and renew it. So these are just little reminders that keep me on track and stay consistent, but I believe my clients appreciate it. And I can say that because the amount of past client retention is pretty good.
That's actually really awesome, and how to retain more clients.
Yeah, and it's, I've kind of called myself the blue-collar broker, not in any, other reason that I pretty much have a guy or gal for everything. And, if I don't have somebody, I will find them for you. And I have clients 2, 3, 4 years down the road that will call me and ask me something completely random, like, hey, do you know where I can get this at? Yeah. Well, because I've lived in this area for a long time, there's a lot of people that move to our valley that are not originally from here. So being able and being a source of knowledge and information also goes that extra way. One of the other things that I talk to my clients about is like when they first move in, like a couple months, you do your check-in. Hey, have you guys gone to any events lately? Have you seen what's going on in the city? What restaurants? What are your new favorite restaurants? Have you and the kids done anything that I need to take my kids to? And you start sharing ideas. Because what happens is not only are you building deeper relationships, but you're also learning more things that people are into. So when the next buyer comes out and they're from a similar area, like we have a lot of people moving from Orange County in LA. So if, they're liking to do certain things, well, maybe I'll say, mention to the next person, hey, you might want to go check out this new restaurant or that new restaurant. And that being the area expert is knowing what's going on. One of the things that I used to do as earlier in my career, I had the every year I'd go every season to the different cities and print their recreational book to let everyone know all the events going on in the area. And I used to hand them out to clients from coming out of town. Now with the internet, it's a little bit easier, just kind of send it to them. But that's huge. Another thing, agent of value that is really kind of clever, doesn't take a lot, is create. So as your business is growing and you start creating a Rolodex of your referrals, you also want to include the water district, the gas company, electric company. So as you're getting ready to close on a house, you have a buyer moving from another area, you just say, hey, as you're opening, starting your utilities, internet, and TV, here's a list of the ones that service your neighborhood. That little thing is huge in a buyer's eyes.
It is. It's one of the hardest things to get done because you don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea. And because what happens, and it kind of goes back to the preparation piece and teaching, if you don't give it to them, who are they going to call when they need it anyways? So if you already have it, if you sell real estate in pretty much the same area, it's not hard to have a Word document with those on there. And if you already have a referral Rolodex of a few painters, a plumber, whatever that may look like, it's easy to just send it all together. And, the relationships kind of go beyond that. So, yes, your client is there and they want a painter. Well, I only refer people that me or someone else I know has used them to do work. And that's how you build more and more relationships. It's, like that saying, you toss a stone into the water in the lake, you don't know how far those ripples are going to go. Plant more and more seeds.
More and more seeds. Anything that we missed?
Yeah, don't stop moving. As a new agent, it can be very easy to kind of get sucked into I have nothing to do today kind of mode. Call it case of the fuck-its. And when you start getting in that mode, it's hard to get motivated. And I know early on in my career, because I had burned the boats, as they say, this was the last house on the block. I had to figure this out. I was going to be a realtor. I remember telling my wife, I'm going to get another part-time job. And she said, no, you need to figure this out. Or select a different career. You're either in or you're out kind of deal when I first got into it. And every day, it was middle summer, July, August, 100 plus, I went out door knocking my farm. And what was ironic about it is every day that I'm like, I don't want to do this again, my phone would ring. Hey, I'm interested in this house. Hey, I'm thinking of selling my house. And nothing came directly from that farm. But what it was me trusting in the process, showing up, suiting up, booting up every single day and doing the deal. And a lot kind of comes off of that where, there's, agents are getting leads from many different sources nowadays. And there are times throughout seasons where you can get lead drunk. And what happens is people get complacent. As a newer agent, there's no way to get complacent. Depending on what your goals are, right? Some agents, their goals are sell 2 houses a year. Some agents say, hey, I'm getting into this business and I need to provide for my family. Well, everyone's goals and visions are going to be different, but you got to be consistent. And you got to figure out how you're going to do it, and you got to just keep moving forward. It's going to be tough. It ain't easy, but it's worth it. Anything you do in life is worth it.
I thank you for your time, Blake.
You're welcome.
And we will do this again.
All right.
Catch you on the next one.
Hey, wait, before you go, would you do us a favor? If you found any value in this content, would you please like and subscribe to it? Maybe even leave a comment? It really helps us out.